Welcome to the Financial Advisor Marketing Playbook. In today's Inside the Huddle, I spend time with Jeff Bush, the founder of WellSpring Financial, located in the suburbs of Philadelphia. Now, I've known Jeff and his practice for over 2 decades, and while they do a lot of things really well inside of their business, today's conversation focuses on client event marketing. So Jeff is going to dive into some of the different events they've hosted over the years, big, small, unique, run-of-the-mill, and shares insights on how to make client events a successful part of your marketing strategy. So stay with me as we dive into the world of client event marketing.
This is the Financial Advisor Marketing Playbook, a show for financial advisors who want to explore the topic of client acquisition and business growth. Your host is Mark Mersman, Chief Marketing Officer at USA Financial. He is an investment advisor representative of securities offered through USA Financial Securities, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Welcome to another episode of the Financial Advisor Marketing Playbook. Joined by Jeff Bush. Jeff, thanks for spending some time with me today.
Glad to be here, Mark. It's a pleasure.
We're gonna dig into some of the cool events that you've done over the years. But before we jump in there, I want you to give a little bit of a backdrop on yourself, the firm, how you got into this business, and kind of how we've come to this point in time.
Sure. Well, so the name of our company is WellSpring Financial, and we just changed our name last year. Up until late 2024, we were Informed Family Financial Services. So we changed our name late last year. We are a full-service financial planning firm with 4 offices located in Pennsylvania. Our main office is in Norristown, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Philadelphia. We also have an office in Pottstown, Reading, Pennsylvania, and Allentown. So we have a pretty large footprint geographically here in Pennsylvania. We started the firm back in 2001, and we've been affiliated with USA Financial and USA Financial Securities since 2001. And we have, there's 2 partners. There's myself and there's Steve Jablonski. And then we have another advisor, Shannon LaRosse. And we have 3.5 staff people to man our various locations and get all the necessary work done. We work primarily in the retirement market. We build our practice through seminars, through your seminars, the Fill the Room seminars, along with introductions and referrals and some other ancillary marketing efforts. But it's been quite a joyous ride. A little bumpy along the way. There's been a lot of
growth. Never happens in a straight line, right?
It doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, that's for sure. But and then I think also most significant to this conversation was in 2022 we acquired another USA Financial Advisory affiliated firm.
Which ultimately helped expand your footprint.
That did expand our footprint. Yeah. So we made an acquisition, the firm that we acquired was only a little smaller than our firm at the time. So we almost doubled in size with that acquisition, which was done, about 2.5 years ago. So that, opened up all kinds of opportunities and, just changed a lot of dynamics in our organization.
And I think that's a really good place to start for some of the event conversation, because I know there are advisors out there that are looking to acquire. And if you find the like-minded practice, all that good stuff, you can still find the perfect scenario, but you have to get over the hump of getting those clients on board and all that sort of thing. want to talk a little bit about what you guys did there in terms of that transition from an event perspective. And, now obviously with the benefit of hindsight, would you have done anything different? So touch a little bit on how you started to integrate that other practice, because essentially that advisor that you acquired was exiting for the most part, hung around for a little while, but for all intents and purposes was taking a step back in terms of being in the limelight with clients. So how did you approach that transition and the acquisition there from an event standpoint with those clients?
Yeah. So from an event standpoint, the very first thing, and of course, when you make an acquisition like that, you have a lot of things that you're trying to achieve when you're merging firms. But one of the things that we felt was important was to integrate our client appreciation events. So we made that acquisition on June the 30th of 2022, and typically we have our client appreciation events at the end of the year, November, December. So we worked pretty much right away in getting a client appreciation event scheduled in November of that year in Reading. And we, to integrate it with our other two that we have in our, that we had in our present territory.
Yep.
So we ended up doing 3 client appreciation events. That one was really significant in that we used that as kind of a send-off to the prior advisors. Can I say his name,
Yeah,
Mark?
yeah.
Is that okay? Earl? Yeah, so Earl, we purchased Earl Schultz's practice, and we used that event not only as a client appreciation event, but also sort of as a little send off, a little
party of sorts,
retirement, a little appreciation for Earl as well. So we had it at the DoubleTree Inn right in downtown Reading. It was attended by, I think we had 125 people there, clients and staff. So it was pretty well attended, and it was really, the event was really important. That particular one was important because it gave the clients an opportunity to see us, which is their new firm. Because when you make an acquisition like that, this is all new to the
right.
clients too, because they've got, all of a sudden they're used to working with one advisor. Now they've got a different advisor team. So that was really an opportunity for us to show, who we are. We had a lot of one-on-one meetings up to that point, but it was really, our first chance to, show them who we were in a larger setting. So that was a key meeting.
And if you had it to do all over again, would you have done it sooner in the acquisition process? Like you said that you acquired in June, and then that one was in November. Would you have done it sooner?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Feel like it went okay?
I don't think so, because the timing of it was, that was only, until we made the acquisition on June 30th. So it was only 3 or 4 months down, and of course, Mark, it takes a while to plan these things, till you get the venue planned, and, sometimes it's hard to secure a venue on short notice. So, there takes a fair amount of planning effort, a fair amount of lead time to pull these events off. So no, I don't think so. I think that the timing of that was pretty spot on. And like I said, there were other priorities that we had during that time frame. So I think it came together at a good time.
What was the flow of the event itself? Was it just a meal? Did you guys talk? Like what was the nature of, how you guys integrated the message you wanted to deliver versus just letting them have a good time?
Yeah. Well, there was a brief presentation, maybe about 20 to 30 minutes, where I got up and talked, and I just kind of gave the clients a background of our firm and just talked a little bit about the acquisition and how grateful we were to have the opportunity to work with these new clients. Emphasized that we were philosophically aligned with, the way Earl handled his practice. So a lot of it was really just to put our clients at ease. So we spent some time doing that. Earl got up and gave a brief talk, maybe 10 minutes, showing appreciation. We had a couple gifts for him. And then we kept the, itinerary pretty light. We typically don't go over anything technical or anything that's, related to our practice, from a planning perspective. And then we had, then we served lunch, and then we had entertainment. We hired a band that performed for, I guess, about an hour. They performed, so that was nice too. There was like a jazz band, so we just, gave them a little bit of entertainment while they were there. So
was there dancing involved in that sort of thing? I mean, was it that type of a band?
There wasn't anything formal dancing, but there were some people that did get up and dance.
Well, if they had the proper adult lubricant there to relax.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, there were a few people that did get up and dance, and the band, it's a live band, and so we try to. I think the main goal of these events is we're just trying to get our clients to feel good about working with us. Like, just walk away from that event where they just feel good about, hey, I'm really glad I'm working with these guys. And, it's nice if we can get introductions, that's always like the,
sure,
the cherry on top of the ice cream. But, the main thing is for retention. We're trying to just show our clients how much we appreciate them and try to get them to feel good about working with our firm.
Well, and that one in particular too, I mean, there was a very intentional goal for just solidifying the relationship, the retention thing. I'm sure you did not go into that one thinking, hey, we're going to pick up new clients and introductions, from that event necessarily.
No.
No. So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the other events that you've done over the years. And I've got a list here that I'm looking at that you guys had sent as we, knew this was going to be our topic. You've done a boatload of stuff with your clients over the years. And as we talked about before, some, were kind of duds and didn't necessarily, accomplish what you were hoping. And then there was some home runs. So, everything from kind of annual client appreciation events to painting stuff to sports games. So let's talk about some of the events right now that you do that are pretty much staples in your practice year in and year out now. So what are the ones that are kind of firmly planted as, hey, these are events we're always going to do as a part of our firm?
Yeah. Well, the staples are, these client appreciation events. So now we do 3 of them a year. So we spread them out geographically from where we have our clients. And typically we'll do 2 evening events, dinner events, and we'll do 1 lunch event. So we give everybody a lot of choice as far as which one they want to attend. So we do 3 events. I would say over those 3 events, we're going to probably get about 200 clients and guests spread out over those 3 events. So that's a standard. And, clients really come to expect that. They know that this is coming, and, we pick nice restaurants to have them at. And
do you typically rotate that? Like, so now that you've been doing this for a number of years, are you changing restaurants, or do you kind of have your staples?
Not really. I mean, we are in this new practice that we acquired. We do shift them between the Reading area and the Allentown area. So those 2 cities are probably let's say they're about an hour apart. So we try to rotate those two, but the other two we pretty much keep. The dinner event we have at a golf club where I'm a member, and then the lunch we have at Italian restaurant in King of Prussia. So those two we keep the same venue. So that's really, I would say that's a staple right there is client appreciation. The other staple, which I think really makes us unique, is our Ladies' Day celebration, which we always do that coincides with Valentine's Day. So we typically will pick like the second Saturday of February, and we'll invite ladies only.
Yep.
So it's ladies only clients, and then they can bring up to 4 guests. So the reason why, and this is really, I think, a home run for us, because typically, ladies don't like to go to these events by themselves. They like to travel together. So it really gives us an opportunity to meet new people. So typically in the crowd, we'll have, it's a pretty good mix of clients and guests. So we might have, let's say 60% of the people are clients and 40% of the people are guests or prospects. Yeah. And we'll get 95 to 100 ladies at this event. So it's pretty big. And again, we have that at my golf club. And we do have entertainment there.
You do that. Do you do it as a brunch? Is that
a brunch? We've done it as a lunch. But the last couple of years we switched it to a brunch. And it's a buffet type, setup, brunch. So, and then we have entertainment. So we've done a lot of different things. We've had dancers, we've had, comedian. We're going to have a comedian this year.
Okay.
A female comedian, which we're really excited about. Last year we had a barbershop quartet. 1 year we had a Frank Sinatra, impersonator. That was pretty cool. Yeah. So we've done a lot. We've had the barbershop quartet a few times. So it's kind of, that's kind of evolved. The entertainment is just, it's just icing on the cake, but it's a way just to make the ladies feel good. It's a day out for them. It's a Saturday. So a lot of times, they'll come, they'll have brunch, then they'll go out and do shopping, or, it's a lot. And a lot of women will come with their daughters, so it's a good way for us to, meet the next generation of clients. So that is probably.
Talk a little about the evolution of this too, because I feel like when we talked after your last event that you did, I think the last one that you did was the biggest ever. And I feel like I heard a number north of 100.
Yeah.
But the first one obviously wasn't that way. So, give us a sense for kind of what the history has been with it in terms of response.
Yeah. So we've been doing this. Yeah. We've been doing this for 20 years. I think it's been a long time. It started out as, like, let's do something for the ladies. Like, there's a lot of ladies who don't have anybody to celebrate Valentine's Day with.
Right.
For whatever reason. So it really it gave us a chance to say, well, come and celebrate it with us. Like we really want to show you some love and come to our event. And, we'll put on a nice event and it's only for ladies. Right. Cause we felt like the guys, we can take care of them with other things that we do, whether it's a ball game or whether it's, something else that caters more to men than women. But this is special. And it's special and exclusive just for women. Right. And I think that makes it makes the women feel even more special.
Sure.
Because they're there, we're there to show appreciation to them. So we really try to make it nice, and give them a nice lunch or brunch. And then we give prizes out. We have like gift baskets that we give out.
That's what I was going to ask you. So as you've evolved this over the years, what have you found to be kind of effective to help create that experience? So you mentioned
so I would say the first year we did it, we didn't do much at all. I think we might have gone out and bought like a single, we bought a bunch of roses and gave everybody like a single rose. We didn't have any entertainment. We just had a brunch and that was about it. Yep. And then we just kept adding stuff, then we added the gift baskets, and then we said, well, let's do some entertainment. And, but one thing that we have not changed is the venue. We've always had it at my golf club.
Okay.
And they just have a really, really nice setup, a really elegant, big ballroom, with a nice sound system, and it's a dance floor, and it's just really nice. We have 100, if we have 100 ladies there, we could put 200, in there if we had to. So it's nice and big, and plus I think there's something about that too that makes the ladies feel good, that it's like, oh, we're going to the golf club,
right,
or, the ladies' day. So, and it's created a lot of buzz over the years, and we've gotten a fair amount of introductions from it, and some of these, like we get, like, I know last year we got an introduction from a client's daughter, and she's been to these ladies' day brunches like over the years, like maybe the last 10 or so years. And so sometimes it takes a while until the relationship comes to fruition. So you're always planting seeds, Mark.
Yep.
And you never know when it's gonna come to fruition. But again, that's only part of why we do it. We're doing it because we really want to show appreciation and show our love to the female clients of ours.
And I think that's a big part of it too, is being authentic about it. If you're doing an appreciation event and it's solely about you as the advisor trying to pick up new clients see through that and it becomes awkward. So how do you handle the invites? Are you, for that one in particular, are you sending physical invites? Are you doing it through email, through phone, and then what is how do you encourage them to bring others without it feeling weird?
We put it right on the invitation, that we send them an invitation that goes out. I think we send the invitation maybe 4 to 6 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
And right on the invitation, we tell them that they're welcome to come. They're welcome to bring up to 4 guests. And we make that very clear on the invitation. And then we do some follow up with email invitation. The email invitation looks just like the paper invitation.
Yep.
Except it's coming through on email. And that's just like a reminder. But it is a paper, invitation that we send out in a nice, nice pink or red envelope, that makes it signify that it's Valentine's Day.
Right. What are you doing to get the guest info, and how are you handling, nurturing those new introductions that you get? I mean, because I know you well enough. You guys aren't, this pushy group and going to make people uncomfortable, which I think is really important if you're going to execute this. There's a fine line to walk there, right? So
there really is. We try to soft pedal that. When they register, we try to get the name of the people that they're bringing as guests, right? Because we want to give everybody a name tag when they come, so we get the names of the guests.
Yeah.
Then when they, so now we have their names, And then when they come, they go through our registration table. We have a registration table, as soon as they get inside the door. And then we ask the guests to sign in, and we ask for their information, their address, and their email address. And then the other thing that we do is on each table. So we have tables of 8 set up in this ballroom. So on each table, we'll put cards that they can fill out if they want more information. So during the course of the event, like, we'll talk about things that we have coming up. Like, so for example, this year, Shannon is going to be doing women's webinars.
Yep.
Well, this is a perfect audience for that. So, Shannon will get up and talk very briefly about this webinar. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about some of the other things that we have on the horizon. Last year we were doing the Retirement Design Lab seminars, so we promoted that. We're going to start doing Social Security seminars again this year, so we're going to promote that. Whatever we have on the docket, we'll talk about. I'm sure this year we'll talk about the name change.
Yep.
But the point is that we're giving them the opportunity, if they want more information, they can fill out a card that we're going to have on the table. I think we even have a QR code they can scan on their phone, which gets them to our website. So, but it's very passive. It's very, we really soft pedal it. It's not like we're going to call these people the next day and try to pressure them into coming in for an appointment. Because it really doesn't work that way. It's like, it's a timing thing. People come to us when they're ready. The client that I was just telling you about that we got, who was a guest at many of our, prior Ladies' Day events, she happened to become a client because she was in a situation where she changed jobs and she had a 401k to roll over.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just the timing of that, life changes, job changes, and marriages and divorces and that kind of thing.
You guys do the gift basket thing, but that's more of a raffle off type of deal, correct? How do you try to structure those gift backs?
Yeah. So, there's a couple things. So I got to tell you this, Mark, my wife gets pretty involved with this event. So she makes these gift baskets, and I think she makes like 5 or 6 of these gift baskets with it. They all have a different theme. The other thing that she does is that she makes these, either she'll make chocolate covered pretzels, or she'll make these, like cake pops. So she makes chocolate covered pretzels, like everybody will get a pretzel on their place setting, or if she'll make, or like a cake pop, and they all have like a Valentine theme to it. So they'll be like decorated with red icing and that kind of thing. So we do, everybody will get that. And then the raffle itself, everybody's name will go in a basket, right? So if you're there, if you're registered, your name goes into a basket, and then we pick the name out of the basket, and then they win the prize. The 5 or 6 baskets that we raffle off, and they're nice. They're nice baskets.
How many clients do you think new clients do you think you could attribute to these events that you've done over the years? Do you have any? You
mean just the Ladies' Day, or just like
the
events in general?
I don't know if you've got an anecdotal number to throw out, and because part of it is,
I would say,
thinking about this, obviously ROI comes into play, and how long do you have to wait before you?
Yeah, I would say this would be my advice there. I would say don't do it for that reason, because it's going to be hard to. First of all, you never know. You could be waiting 10 years to get a client, which we have. It's rarely is going to happen like within a year, right? It's like you're just planting seeds. I would say between client appreciation and the ladies' day, we've probably gotten 12 to 15 good clients over the years from these events.
Yep. And you're obviously making deposits in the relationships with the existing clients, which, leading to other introductions.
Here's the other thing, Mark, that I think is really important. So as our practice has evolved, and now we have AUM, we're getting a lot of recurring revenue, right? So we've got clients that are basically, they're paying us every month, right? So these are relationships that we really have to pay attention to. It's like you can't, I think some advisors can forget about, paying attention to these clients. So you really have to pay attention to the client, not only the asset that you're managing, but also the relationship. So again, it's a feel good experience where, you're having these clients come to this event and you want them to feel good about working with your firm and placing trust in your firm, assets in your firm. And it's as much about retention as it is about, trying to acquire, new introductions.
When you, are determining guest lists on who you're going to invite to these, are you opening it up to your entire client base? Are you kind of classifying for these types of events? Only this tier of client gets it. How do you go through that?
Yeah. So we invite. So we have different tiers of clients in our database. So we have triple A's, we have double A's, we have single A's, and then we have B's. So any A classification gets invited to these events, these events that we've been talking about, the client appreciation, the ladies' day. So it's we cast a pretty wide net, and some of these A clients don't have a lot of assets with us, but they're nice people. We value the relationship. And the other thing, Mark, is you never know. You just never know where your next introduction is going to come from.
Right.
So, we go down pretty deep, for these events. We go down right to the A level.
So do you then, let's kind of switch gears into some of the other events that you've done. Do you have certain events that are just for your top tier client base?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's some client events are only for, we do some that are just for AAA, and then we have some that are for AAA and AA.
What are some of those types of events that you've done with those groups?
The AAA would be the ideal client event, the ideal client reception, which we did 3 of those last year. Those are really done at a high end restaurant. You're really trying to give them a really elevated experience. We gave everybody a nice gift last year. We gave them a cutting board that was engraved. And we went through, the whole advisor protocol experience that we've been through over the last 5 years. So that was really like a high end experience. And the other thing that we did was we created a book. It's like it's like a thick book that we put together, which it's like the next level of planning, right? So it's like we have all their statements in there, their plan, their legacy. They can add their own information in there, like their other relationships they have with professionals like attorneys and accountants, other insurance people that they work with. They can put their will in there, and notes
Sure.
for their kid. It's like a really highly organized document or series of documents that's there for their family when the family needs it. So we give that to everybody that is a AAA that comes to the ideal client event. Okay. So that is all evolved with our work with the the advisor protocol team.
And that event is very intentional, though. That is just clients, just those ideal clients, right? And there's a very different intent to that versus a bring a friend type of event that you're encouraging.
Yeah, exactly. And we find, the best restaurant that we can find in each area and just really try to create a nice experience. So that's AAA only. Then what we do for AAA and AA is the legacy events.
Okay.
So that's where clients are encouraged to bring adult children to the event, where we talk about now let's get into the next level of planning, where we're not, you've already worked with us. We've already put your income model into play. We've invested your assets. Now we want to talk about your legacy. What's your wish list? How do you want this to unfold with your children and your grandchildren? And we encourage them to bring their children to these events so we can get to know them.
Yep.
Because I always say, I don't want to meet your children for the first time when we're, talking about settling your estate after you've died. I want to be able to meet them beforehand in a more favorable situation. Right. Because it just makes it easier for everybody. And our clients appreciate that, and their children appreciate that, because they want, it's a way to just, solidify and strengthen the relationship that we already have. How did
you structure that? Were you doing that with an attorney as well? Or, because that's educational, obviously.
It is. And yes, we do have an attorney that we work with. In fact, we worked with two different attorneys this last year when we did it. So the attorney comes and gives their expertise.
Yep.
So they talk about, things that you should be doing, pitfalls to avoid, that kind of thing. So it's a really big value add, I feel, so there is some exclusivity to this. So we do, we invite the AA and the triple A's to these events. Yeah. We just started those last year, and they're very well received.
Yeah. What other events have you done that you feel are pretty successful that you would say, yeah, I'll do that again? Or, because
minor league baseball is a big one. So we have two minor league baseball teams in our area. We've got the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, which are based in Allentown. That's a AAA franchise of the Philadelphia Phillies. And then we've got the Reading Fightin' Phils, which is a AA franchise of the Philadelphia Phillies. So both of these teams have really nice setup for a group outing.
Yeah.
So and what we found is our clients really love to come out to these events. They love to come to the ball game. Nice, they like to come out for a nice night and just enjoy a ball game. So we used to do just one night. Before we made the acquisition, we would just do one night. We would we'd get a bus to drive up from down in, the Norristown area up to Allentown, which is about an hour drive, I guess, on the bus. So it was nice. People didn't have to worry about driving and parking, and they wanted to have, a couple of drinks during the game. They didn't have to worry about getting in a car and that kind of thing. So that really, that event was very well received. Then when we made the acquisition of Strategic Wealth, those clients love baseball too.
Yeah.
So then we added a second night. So last year we did one night at the Reading Phillies, and then we did one night at Lehigh Valley, right? And we gave clients a chance to go to either one.
Yeah.
But it's very well attended. So we probably got 100 people. We probably got over 100 people for those two events.
Yeah. And you find they're bringing a guest oftentimes, or maybe
a lot of times they're bringing guests.
Yeah.
So again, it's an opportunity for us to meet new people. It's hard to meet new people and get introductions. It's everybody wants to do it. Everybody in our business wants to get referrals and wants to get introductions, but it's hard. It's really hard to do. And then we're finding now that we acquired this new practice. We're finding, because now we're trying to do it in a brand new setting, in a brand new arena with new people, and it's tough. But you just got to do the right thing, Mark. You just got to do.
How often, for those, are you doing any education there, or is that strictly fun?
The baseball?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, are you trying to talk at all and introduce yourself?
No.
Or are you just counting?
We don't do anything other than they know who we are. That's it.
Okay.
We don't do anything. The education. So the main educational event that we do is in July. We'll do a market update.
Okay.
A market update. So the market update, I think that's just for double A's and triple A's also, double A, triple A. So it's really the top tier clients. And typically what we'll do is we'll get a speaker in from one of the companies that we have a relationship with. So it could be a variable annuity company. We'll get like a speaker from either their home office, or it could be like a fund manager, right? Like I know with our relationship with Jackson National, we had a BlackRock representative come in a couple years ago. And what we find, clients want to hear about the market. They want to hear about, their money and how their money's going to be doing. So we try to do that mid-year every year. And those events are also very well attended. I think we had like 130 people last year between the two events. Well, we do two of these. Yeah. We do two. We do one in Norristown, and then last year we did one up in Reading. This year we're going to move it up to Allentown, and we're going to do one up there. But it's really an educational type event where now we are talking business here at this one, but that's the expectation.
Yep.
Last year, this was really cool. Every advisor should do this. Last year, we got somebody from Prudential to talk about fraud, identity theft, and fraud. And the title of the talk was called Breach. And the gal that did this was fascinating. She was smart. She knew what her stuff, and she was a very entertaining speaker. It's hard to get that combination.
Right.
And she was really good, really dynamic. But I think every advisor should do this, because this has been this is an ongoing issue and will continue to be an ongoing issue.
Yep.
And particularly for our clients who are a little more vulnerable than I would say the average person, simply because they don't have the tech savvy, right? Like a 70-year-old person doesn't have the same tech savvy as a 30-year-old person, right? So I think it's just, and she just like gave a lot of tips, a lot of things to be aware of, with your phone, with your email, with your laptop, all this stuff. It was just really, really good. I mean, like I said, everybody should be doing this.
Yeah.
It's just a good service to provide to your clients. So we did that last year, and that was very well received.
Are you typically, so if you get, if your clients bring friends there and you get their contact info, I'm assuming you're throwing them in your drip system and putting touches out to them.
Yeah, we'll email them. We'll send emails. I think now, now we've got a new marketing person here. We hired my daughter last year, Lauren, and she's got a marketing background.
Yep.
And, I think we can have a more focused effort on some of this stuff that we didn't have previously. So we're going to probably have her calling some of these people and just getting, not in a pure, try to set an appointment kind of a phone call, but just, thank you for coming. Do you have any questions for us? Is there, we offer a second opinion, that kind of thing.
Right.
And I think we're going to be a lot more intentional with some of these events that we're doing.
Yep.
And the follow up.
So I know we've talked about a few of them. You've done some unique ones. The Antique Roadshow. What was that event about? Because that was a little.
Oh, that was a fun one. That was a fun one. So that's like a TV show, which I had never heard of. But it's like they just, some people are really into antiques. Yeah. So, the lady that does this show is from Philadelphia. She's from our area. So normally when she goes and does these talks, you got to pay her a lot of money and you got to pay her, her transportation. So I got her to agree to speak to our group, so I didn't have to pay any of her transportation because she lives right here. So, but I did have to pay her a fee, a pretty hefty fee. And I forget how much it was, but it was pretty substantial. But this is what was really cool about it. You could come and bring your own antique.
Right.
And she would appraise it. You got a free appraisal.
Yeah. And oftentimes she knows backstory and history on.
Oh, that was the coolest thing about it. She had like backstories about everything. I brought a Civil War cannon. My dad had this Civil War cannon, right? That was never shot off. Right. So and this thing's humongous, right? So I took it apart, put it in my car and brought it and set it up and everything. And she was like spot on with this cannon and said what it was worth and when the best time to sell it and all this other stuff. But she did, everybody did this. We had, I forget how many people were there, like maybe 35 people there, something like that. But that one was very unique, the
thing that to me what made it so cool, anybody that went to that, they're going to remember that. That's just a memorable event. That's like, oh man,
yeah, awesome. And that's really what we're trying to accomplish here. And the other thing that is pretty cool and also very memorable is we have access. We have had access in the past to these luxury suites down at the ballpark, right? Whether it's baseball or basketball or hockey. So for example, in the Wells Fargo Center here in Philadelphia, we do a lot of business with a firm that has a suite inside of the Wells Fargo Center. So so they allow us to have access to this suite for a game. So the suite is all ours. It's private, right?
Yep.
So we can put maybe 16 to 18, let's say 18 clients in there, and they're experiencing the game from the suite, where they have access to, food and drinks, right, and a private restroom and all that, right? TV screens. Yep. So it's really like a high level experience. And same thing for baseball at Citizens Bank Park, which is where the Phillies play. So the suite there is right behind home plate, and it's the same type of experience. So like last year, we had that suite for a prime game. Like, was that the Yankees came into town, and there's a little bit of I shouldn't say a little bit of rivalry. There's a big rivalry with Yankee fans and Phillies fans. In fact, you can probably see my Yankees.
I was going to say, if for those that are watching the video, you can tell who Jeff was rooting on.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was really cool. So we had, the suite full, and there was some Yankee fans in there, and there was more Phillies fans. And it was just a lot of fun. It was just that, and that was really, really a high end experience because you're right behind home plate.
Sure.
Really, really close to the ball game. And it just, so that's like a really elevated experience. And, though that's reserved for just your really, really top tier clients. Just the top of the top for that.
How do you determine, when you come into a new year, are you budgeting, hey, we're going to do X amount of $1,000 in client event marketing this year? How are you approaching that? Do you track your ROI on it, to a certain extent, knowing, that can be years down the road?
We don't track ROI. But what we do is we have a whole planning day that we do in late October for the following year. Okay. So for example, for 2025, we met in October of 2024 and laid out our whole schedule for next year. Because it takes, you have to get all these dates in place. You got to call the venues and reserve the venues, and there's a lot of coordination. Then you got to get them on the schedule so that everybody's scheduled around these events. So it takes a fair amount of coordination, and I like to have involvement from the entire team. So really our entire team is sitting in a conference room for, an entire day, when we're laying out all these events. And we're putting a budget on, like, we know what all these events are going to cost. And, there's some organization to it rather than, just like opening the year on January 1st and say, okay, now what are we going to do?
Well, I'm telling you though, Jeff, I think you're laying out, honestly, as silly as it is the formula. It's the secret formula that you have to get the dates on the calendar. I can't tell you how many advisors I have conversations with. Oh, I want to do some client events, and we'll maybe think about doing it in first quarter, and then 4 weeks before they were planning on the event, we got this in the way or that in the way. Maybe we won't.
Yeah.
You need to plot it out ahead of time.
Yeah, which we do. And of course, we've been doing this now for such a long time, and you have to be really, really intentional with it. And, the thing I've found too, Mark, is like, if you have to make adjustments to your schedule, that's fine. You can always do that.
Right.
And we have in the past because, it's just out of necessity. But if you have a plan in place, it just makes it a lot easier to execute. And like I said, too, it's like calling these venues and getting reservation. A lot of these places want deposits, so you gotta have all this stuff planned ahead of time. So I would say that that's probably important, that you want to have a plan going out at least a year ahead.
Yep. As you think about some of the other fun events that you've done, what comes to mind? What do you feel like are some of the cool ones that you've done?
Painting with a twist. So painting with a twist is you go to, that's actually the name of the company, Painting with a Twist. So
okay.
It's like the generic idea is this: you go and you get maybe 15 to 20 people in this studio where everybody's painting the same thing, right?
Yep.
So, and it's usually like very topical, right? Like one year we went in October and everybody was painting this pumpkin, right?
Sure.
So and then you have a leader that's like telling you what to do, like mixing all your colors and you're creating this painting. And then the whole idea is, you bring your own wine, and that's where the twist comes in, I guess. You're drinking
so they let
wine.
you bring your own wine.
Yeah, you bring your own wine.
Okay.
And usually like cheese and crackers, and some soft drinks and things like that. And then it's just the experience of you're creating your own work of art, your own canvas. So we're doing that this year. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's not that expensive. I think that costs like, I don't know the exact price, but I want to say like maybe $40 a person.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's $40 a person and you get to bring the food and drink and.
Yeah. You bring your own. It's like we usually just get like a tray of cheese and crackers and then a couple bottles of wine and you're good to go. It's like super easy. And again, you're trying to create a neat experience. Like it's just fun. You're there, you're there,
yep.
It's like I'm horrible at this painting, mine looks,
it looks like both.
Yeah. Like a third grader could do a better job than I do, but it's fun nevertheless. And, and if you have a good, leader or a good moderator, they can make it fun too. And, so it's just like I said, it's just something to make it fun.
So you've done something at the zoo. I know that.
Yeah. So the zoo, we're going back to the zoo this year. We haven't been to the zoo in a while, but that's fun too. What we've done in the past with the zoo, we try to pick like these local zoos. Like there's a zoo in Norristown and there's a zoo up in Allentown. We don't go to the Philadelphia Zoo. That's like a huge, urban type zoo with all these, a lot of animals. These local zoos are much more family friendly. So, there we're trying to encourage people to bring their children and their grandchildren. We've done it a couple times on Grandparents' Day, right? So that's like in September. I think it's like the second Sunday in September. And the weather's still really nice. And, so the idea is you come and you bring your grandchildren. So you just go in and enjoy the zoo. And
I think the thing I like about some of these too, it's bridging generations, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of what you're trying to accomplish. We know that wealth is going to change hands at some point, and how can we do things and events to help facilitate some of those relationships? And sometimes it's hard. They're, out of state or whatever, but a lot of them do have family that are close. And
yeah, they do. And you're right. It's all about trying to get to know and I think too, if you make the effort, with your clients, like, I really want to get to know your children. It would be nice if I could meet your children. And because I think I said earlier, you don't want to meet your children for the first time when you're settling a death claim.
No.
And believe me, I've done that many times in my career, many times. When that's the very first conversation I'm having with their children. And you do it, and it's, obviously it's a professional, you try to develop a professional relationship, but if you can create your legacy this way and get to know the children, and, we've got a fair amount of second, and we've got one or two third generation clients, which that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
grandparents,
cool.
Parents, and grandchildren. So we've done that a couple times, and that's really cool when you can do that.
So as you look back, and if an advisor is thinking for the first time, I want to do some client events, what advice do you have for them?
Well, client appreciation is kind of a no-brainer. You want to do that. And then just try to pick some that are like unique to your own personality, right? Like whatever your likes are. Like I like baseball, so we have these baseball events. But Steve, he likes to golf, and we didn't even talk about that. Like he has he has an event where he has like golf lessons, and then they golf 9 holes. So he does that. But my advice, Mark, would be, I would say to start small. So try to do like client appreciation, and then pick out 1 or 2 other things that are unique to your personality, or maybe unique to where you live, right? Like we're doing minor league baseball because we have a minor league baseball team close to us. Well, not everybody can do that, but, there might be, wherever you are, there might be things that are unique to, your local area. And I would say make it reflect your own personality and who you are.
I think
right,
the key to that ensures that you're having fun with this.
Yeah.
If it's something that you would enjoy, the clients that are going to enjoy it are the ones that will show up. And I think doing this type of marketing makes your work feel not like work, right?
Yeah.
If you can engage with these clients in a fun environment. And I think the other thing that I would say, I can already picture some of the advisors listening to this and say, boy, 100-person event. Either I don't have that many clients right now that I would want to invite, or that feels like a lot to organize. I don't think that you need to start there. And in fact, a lot of your big events now probably started a fraction of the size. And
yeah, I would say, here's the other thing. You got to walk before you run. You start, you just do what you can handle and what your budget can handle. But it's nice to plan these things. Like I assume we're going to be publishing this thing like in the early part of the year, but I guess it's really a good time of the year to start planning for things that you might be doing middle to end of the year. These nail down your venue, try to get some future plans in place here. But anything that can create a really good experience for your client, so you can get them to come away with a good feeling about you and your firm, right? So like the advisor is really important, but it's also important is like the people on your team. You got to put them out there too, that, because your clients aren't always communicating with you. They're communicating with your team also. So, you want to make them part of it as well.
And you're kind of treating these events as an all hands on deck from your team. And
yeah, pretty much.
pretty much the expectation of the team is to participate and be there, and it's kind of an extension of your workday.
Exactly.
And I think it's a huge win for them, to forge those relationships. A lot of times they're having to have tough conversations or track them down for this, that, or the other thing. And if they've got a relationship outside of the work environment that they can draw from, I think that's huge. And I'll say on the small event thing, I mean, there's a big advantage to doing the small events. The 10, 12, 14 people, they're much more intimate, and that's obviously much more cost effective. I mean, your paint event is probably a fraction of what you pay for your, baseball outings. And you could probably argue it has the same kind of impact, just in a little different way.
You know what, Mark? Here's the other thing that we haven't really talked about yet. But if you can get these companies that you do business with to give you some marketing support,
right?
Like if you can make that work, like a lot of these wholesalers, they have a budget to help advisors, right? So they'll help you they'll give you money for client appreciation. They'll give you money for like the Ladies' Day. We've gotten some help, market updates. So if you can get them to help, that helps defray the cost too. Like I know when we did that Antique Roadshow, the firm that I was working with on that, I got them to pay for a significant part of that that night.
Yep.
So that helps too. That helps a lot.
Absolutely.
Actually.
Yeah. I mean, and especially if you're going to commit to doing a lot of these events, that's, it's a big investment, no doubt. All right. I'm going to wrap this up with a few rapid fire questions, Jeff. So,
okay, I'm ready.
What's your favorite business book?
Oh, wow. My favorite business book. Well, first of all, I love Tony Robbins.
Okay.
Right. I like Dan Sullivan's stuff. Right. So, there's a book that Dan put out. It's called Who, Not How.
Okay.
Right. So that's a good one. Tony Robbins, Awake the Giant Within. So it's kind of like business and motivation at the same time.
Yep. Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I've ever received. Well, I've received a lot of advice, and I've received a lot, and I've received a lot of advice from your team.
Yep.
Right. I would say the biggest piece of advice just don't give up. Right. Like it's just
keep your foot on the gas.
Just keep persevering. Just keep believing in yourself. Have confidence in yourself, and just keep doing what you're doing.
Okay. If you weren't a financial advisor, what would you be doing?
I'd be playing baseball. I'd be a baseball player.
For the Yankees?
Of course, now at my age, I might be retired, but maybe I'd be a manager.
You've gone to beer league softball at that point.
Yeah. Well, my knees are bad now. I think it went too much catching in my younger days, but I like the strategy of it. So I'd probably be a manager.
All right. Last one. Since we talked about events today, what's the most memorable event that you've ever attended?
Most memorable event that we've done?
Well, I guess I'll ask you what you've done, but also that you've attended.
Well, that we've done, I would say would be that baseball game that we had last year, Yankees versus Phillies. That was probably going to be the most memorable that I've attended. Wow. I've attended some good ones.
Yep.
I've attended some good events over the years. Ed Slott had a nice event in Chicago about 15 years ago. Some of your Chain of Secret events, like some of the early Chain of Secret events, I really got a lot out of those. I find Mike, your guy, Mike Walters, to be very inspirational with his, and he's very intuitive with a lot of his thoughts.
Sure.
So those have been good events to attend as well.
Awesome. Well, hey, man, I appreciate it. I didn't realize we'd even run this long, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot to talk. I've been with you guys for I guess this is my 25th year. So we got a lot to talk about.
You've accomplished a lot, and congratulations for all that you've accomplished. It's been awesome to see. And every year you reinvent yourself different ways, which is kind of cool.
It's been fun, Mark. I appreciate the time this morning.
Yep. All right, sir. I appreciate it. We'll catch you soon. And for all of you listening, this was Jeff Bush, and get out there and think about doing some fun events for your clients, and good things will come from it. So take care, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mark.
This information is for licensed financial professionals only and is not intended for use in soliciting sales from the public. The views expressed represent the opinions of the presenter or their featured guest, not necessarily those of USA Financial or its affiliated subsidiaries. Industry references are generic and are not intended to represent actions or beliefs of any individual or entity. Content is only presented to illustrate general principles, beliefs, or ideas and should not be construed as legal or regulatory advice. Trademark and copyright protected. USA Financial and Affiliates.